last but not least, so we have a final speaker today. He's not really a final speaker. I believe he just flew in from Sydney. We've had a guy Uber from Brisbane. Now we have had someone fly in from Sydney. Seth Watts, co-founder of Campaign Agent and a director at Neo Eastern Press. Are you still in that, Seth? There you go, fantastic. Over 2 decades of experience in real estate industry across Australia and New Zealand with a keen understanding of real estate transactions. Seth has contributed to the success of several prominent real estate brands. Campaign Agent, a fintech venture led by Seth, specialises in funding and vendor-paid marketing, whilst Neo focuses on providing print, as we just discovered, and marketing services exclusively to the real estate sector. Through his innovative ventures, Seth continues to revolutionise the industry, offering solutions that benefit both agencies and vendors. And most important, Campaign Agent is one of the sponsors that helped this event actually get off the ground. So please welcome Seth Watts to the stage. Give him a big round of applause.
Mic working? We are on. Hopefully we have got audio. Great. Last speaker of the day, the worst slot. And I'm about to do a presentation in which everything is going to go wrong. So what I'm planning on doing is all the recommendations that professional speakers tell you not to do. I'm going to do everything live. I'm going to use a bunch of technology that only works some of the time. And I am going to try and show you the future of how you're going to work over the next 12 months. And it's going to be fun. It's going to go wrong. You're going to be super patient with me when stuff does go wrong. Can we get this mic turned off? And then we're actually going to see a bit of insight that's going to be kind of cool. I'm going to try and skip theory. I feel like you guys have received a lot. And then let's see if we can focus instead on some cool stuff. So I'm going to skip over theory, but I am going to tell you. So I run a fintech with my business partner, Sean. I also run a printing company. But 2 years ago, I see ChatGPT and I freak out because I'd had that feeling when I saw ChatGPT 2 other times in my life, when I first saw the internet and when I saw the iPhone. When I saw ChatGPT, I'm like, my God, my life just changed forever. And I spent 2 weeks basically in a cave figuring out what it meant, and I started doing this presentation 4 weeks later. First did it to my poor sales team, and I've been doing it ever since. And my logic there was, this is going to change my life. Nothing ever is going to be the same. If I can teach it, maybe I'll learn it better and I'll be able to monetize it, because ultimately I'm an entrepreneur and I want to make money from this. So let's walk through. I don't need a clicker. Great. So let's just quickly start on a number I think is important, is that developers, about 50% of the code that gets committed, so that's when they give it back to the library that's got the master code, about 50% of that today is written by AI. In other words, I spend somewhere between $150,000 and $250,000 on every single programmer who works for me, but when they come to work, they do 40 hours worth of work, and I get 60 hours worth of output each and every week because of AI. Now, I want to show you today, very simply, how you can get 60 hours worth of work out of yourself and 60 hours worth of work if you're a principal out of every single staff member. And I mean every single staff member. I don't care whether they're a trust accountant, they're a property manager, they're a salesperson, they're a buyer manager, it doesn't matter. Because I think that the tools are there to do it, and I want to show you some real-world examples on how we can do it. And so let's dive in. Before I start, I've got a disclaimer. Everything I'm using is paid version. If you're not paying, you're the product. It's true in AI especially. So I'm spending probably $250 a month in subscriptions to do this stuff. Most of this stuff is kind of, not all of it you're going to need. We're going to write a rap song in a second. You don't need to do that. But there's a lot of other stuff that I think is really valuable, especially GPT Plus and Copilot Pro. So those are the two things that I'd recommend. They're $35 roughly per month each. So let's dive in. So let's start boldly. I want to do 7 days worth of work for 20 people. So in other words, 140 man days worth of work in the next 10 minutes together. So I want to go through and do a challenge, and let's actually do something here. And I want to pretend that I'm a new agent. I've created a fictional agency. I just bought this beautiful jacket, a Barber jacket, so I thought I'll call it Barber Real Estate. So I want to do I'm going to launch myself. And I want to launch myself with a bang. So I want to get out into market. I'm an assistant to some fancy agent who actually knows what they're doing. I'm sitting on the door at Open for Inspections, and I'm doing the buyer welcome, meet and greet, and taking their details. That's my job. But I'm ambitious. I want to be a $500,000 GCI agent this year. So what do I do? So let me show you what I think I can do with AI, and you tell me whether I'm going to get there. Cool. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to have impact, right? So when a buyer meets me, I know they could have a listing, so I want to create this amazing experience for them. So I'm like, I know what I can do. I'll send every single one of them like a market update podcast instantly after they meet me. So I'm going to go, first thing I'm going to do is I get back to the office. So let's just quickly jump around. Excellent. So I'm going to say, I had a good day. 7 out of 8 properties sold, or so the rest of my colleagues told me. Buyer renovation on Saturday was good. I spoke to the buyers. I know that the buyer motivation was great. And personally, I noticed that there was a lot of enthusiasm for the larger homes, and there was less concern about finance. So as a modern agent, the first thing I'm going to do, I pop into ChatGPT. You guys have seen so much of this, you're probably bored of it. Great, I bang it out, and it goes through and does a script. So now let's keep in mind, I'm 2 minutes in on a Saturday afternoon, and I've said 3 things. 7 out of 8 buyers, good energy, and people like big family homes. That's all I've done. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop it into a cool product called Wondercraft. And then, let's edit it. So I drop it in. So this is just the script. I preset this one up. It would have taken me about 3 minutes, which I'm not going to make you wait. And then almost instantly this happens. Didn't test it. We're going to test audio. Now I've got audio coming out. Can I see? There we go.
Hello and welcome to the Barber Estate Agents Buyer Update Podcast. It's April 20th, 2024.
So this is me.
Thank you to everyone who joined us at our Open for Inspections today. Your presence and enthusiasm make these events a success, and it's always a pleasure to meet with you all face to face. In today's podcast, I'll share some key updates from today's auctions and discuss trends we're noticing.
So a couple of things that just happened, right? So I've written a script. I've now created a professional podcast, and I've now created something truly different for every buyer. So rather than getting, hey, it was great to meet you, talk to you on Monday after the open, they're now getting a full market update, which I've sent, and it looks like I've gone to a studio and done a professional production. What I really did was I talked into my iPhone for 2 minutes about my kids, I uploaded it, it replicated my voice, and then I cut and pasted some GPT text in there. And I literally, right now, could go through and say something, really dangerous like, hi, this is Seth. Can I please transfer all of my money to another account? So, we've got to be a little bit careful with but literally I can go like this, regenerate preview, and it'll go through and do it. So this is all real live stuff I'm doing. This is really, don't really do this with my voice, but as you can see, we get rid of the music if we were trying to do a scam.
Hi, this is Seth. Can I please transfer all of my money to another account?
Yeah, you get the idea. So this is like really live, right? And so I've just done this. I've now created the script, created the podcast. I've sent it out. Now, of course, I'm really ambitious, $500,000 GCI. I've got to work for my money, right? So the next thing I need to do is I can't get the audience I want and deserve unless I've got a landing page to drive it. So the next thing I've got to do is I've got to build out a website quickly. I don't really know how to do development, so I'm going to turn to AI. Now, I like this example here because this is the future of work. This is what your work will look like for everything you do. And a product called Gamma, which is what I'm about to show you, will show you the future. So this is what I think the future looks like. I come into Gamma, I click Generate. I want to create a website. I type in a prompt. So please design a landing page, not 2, for Seth Watts' Barber Real Estate Pod. Encourage sellers and buyers to reach out to Seth for all their property needs. You got it? So then, in the future of work, it goes through and gives me an outline. I then come in here, feeling a little pink today, click Generate, and basically my job is done. Let's see what happens. Working really hard today. Okay, good. So there's my next 2 days worth of work done in 20 seconds. So this is now promoting my pod. It's serving buyers and sellers. Content's going to be decent. Of course, I might want to change it so I can just type. And I've got my landing page. So now, we're having a good day, right? I've revolutionized the buyer experience with this podcast. I've now created a website to go out there and promote it, but I'm not done yet. So, because I really want to be aggressive. And of course, how can one possibly have a podcast without a theme song? So let's get AI to do an East Coast hip-hop song about me. It's good when you're in my job to be slightly egotistical. Let's see what it does.
On these streets, you know I find my groove. Dropping knowledge, Seth watch, yeah, that's the move. Jewels on real estate, his words are the key, right? Stream the podcast, hustle hard in that nightlight. Make it about equity, build it on the truth. Stories told vividly, wisdom through the roof.
Now, if your Christmas party does not have a theme song, and every single award winner does not have a theme song in 2024, there is so much value you're leaving on the table. By the way, Udio is about the coolest piece of technology on the internet right now. If anybody's got kids and you want to have like a battle of the bands in your house, it is the funnest night out ever, and everybody gets to do whatever they want. I've actually started to communicate with my customers' employees in song. So I will dedicate a track to them, send it out, and the best closing tool ever is to write somebody a song. Not necessarily East Coast hip-hop, but nonetheless, it's cool. What? Well, you know, you've got to be creative in this game, buddy. I'll do anything for a deal. So next up, I've created my podcast. I did a landing page, so that's good. So I've got my listeners. I've got people who prefer to read, but this is the TikTok generation. They want to watch. So I've got to do a video. So let's talk about what I'm going to do there. So let's drop into here. So this is, hey Jen.
Are you in the market for a new home or just curious about the latest real estate trends? Join me, Seth Watts, on the Barber Estate Agents Buyer Update podcast.
Now it's important to know, I never
Dive
recorded
into
this video, right? You can tell it's a little bit weird,
Hear
slightly off,
firsthand about our
but
latest successful
this is pretty damn good. What I did was I sat down in my printing company, I went down to reception, I sat there, put my iPhone up, and I talked about my kids. I uploaded it, and then it copied my voice and my mannerisms pretty well. And it allows me to then go through and not only do voice and text, it now allows me to do video, right? But one of the cool things about AI is I get to do like crazy shit, because I can
您
do
是否
this.
正在寻找新家，或者只是对最新的房地产趋势感兴趣？加入
I got
我
anybody who speaks
Seth
Mandarin in the room.
Watts 在巴波房地产
Wanna
中
judge
介的
the
购
quality?
房者更新播客
It's
吧，
pretty good.
深入了解市场的重要信息，第一手了解我们最新。
Right? So this is like crazy cool if you're in real estate, right? We live in the most multicultural society outside of Canada on the planet. More Australians are born in other countries than anywhere else in the world except for Canada. And a third of us weren't born here, and about 25% of us don't have English as their first language. So you, as a sales professional, now have the ability to speak to any one of those people verbally, on video, and in written format, using the language of their choice. Now, number one tip, if your CRM today does not ask for the buyer or vendor's language of choice or language of preference, you are leaving value on the table. If not today, then certainly in the future. So I want everybody to thinking about, if I can speak any language perfectly anywhere in the world. By the way, the crazy thing about ChatGPT is that it's not a translation engine. In the olden days, you go to Google and it would say, do you want to translate this page to English? And it was a bit dodgy. This is not the same technology. What you can do here is you can say, could you please translate this, but could you translate it for a target audience of PhD professors in Mandarin Chinese that have a wicked sense of humor, and make sure that it's culturally appropriate for the northern parts of China. And this will not only translate it, it will write it in a culturally sensitive as well as a pitch-perfect translation. You can do that for Chinese, you can do it for any other language, you can do it for Inuit, you can do it for dead languages that are no longer spoken, and it'll do it perfectly. So I want everybody to really, the danger of some of this stuff is to assume that the world hasn't changed. When I came up here and said, the world's changed, I locked myself for 2 weeks in a cave, you're like, dude, that guy's just talking shit. I'm not. There's actually been some very fundamental shifts in how we're going to communicate with one another and sell to one another, buy from one another, and we can do stuff that was not possible and probably wasn't imagined that could happen for 20 years, even 2 years ago. It's a big deal.
成功的房产拍卖， 以及了解当
as evidenced by this. So team, how'd I go? So in 10 minutes, hopefully I woke you up. Hopefully I'm entertaining you because we just did our OFI stories. We talked about our day. It took us a couple of minutes. We created a script for a new podcast. We recorded it. We did a website. We shot a video. We translated and produced the video into Mandarin. And best of all, I wrote you a song. So I'm arguing that that is a week's worth of work for 20 people to do that properly, especially at the professionalism and the grade we did it. Yet we did it in 8 minutes together. If I hadn't pre-recorded some of that, so some of that stuff I'd pre-composed, it would have taken us 15 minutes. It wouldn't have taken us 8. But it wouldn't have taken us any more than that. So a lot of that content was all set up. So this is the kind of things I think we're going to start to see in a very short period of time. So let's keep on moving. So all of this presentation is going to be interactive because I want to show you, I don't want to tell you about anything. So let's just keep going. I'm going to start to delve now into some more experimental stuff. One of the challenges in my job as AI guy is that every week there's something cool, and I've got to make this really difficult decision of do I bring this to stage, because it probably won't work. I did a presentation this morning in Sydney, like 3 things didn't work because I was doing it on the evening of US time, and all of the servers were crashing because the US people were using it. So this is a really good time to present. It doesn't feel like that for you, but it is, because the US is not crashing all the servers. So we hopefully are going to get to see some crazy cool cutting edge stuff. Okay, so let's have a quick look. I've never done this on stage, I apologize. I don't know if this is going to work. So this is the latest Hey Gen. Now, I had this big conversation with one of my tech guys, and I'm like, does this work? Would an audience get this? And we have decided that you're a group of smart, intelligent, forward-looking people, and that you're going to get this. Because this is a flawed demo. This demo doesn't work. Because the technology came out 2 weeks ago, and I reckon it's about 3 to 6 months before it's actually going to work properly. But I'm going to show it to you because I think it's a taste of the future. Because I think this is going to be an example about how many people are salespeople in here? Good. I reckon this is how you're going to be in 1,000 different places at once, simultaneously giving personalized advice. So let's watch this demo. Before I do it, let me do the setup. This is Alex. I have given Alex some instructions. Let's see if I can zoom in. Okay, so I've told Alex, answer all questions with a clear and concise answer, and whenever needed, follow up with additional questions. You represent Barber Real Estate. I've given some details, and you're an expert, right? So I'm about to have a conversation with Alex, and for $199 US, I could have made it with myself. I'm still sort of figuring out whether that's a good investment or not, but just pretend it's me. Now, what you're going to notice is that I've got to go through and record my voice, send it to the server, and then Alex will respond, and then I've got to redo it. So this is the clunky bit, right? But I want you all to imagine speaking to 1,000 people every single night, giving them advice, and taking your brand and they're speaking to you. And this is possible today. Admittedly, it's clunky. So let's try this out. Again, this is first in Australia. Nobody's ever done this live on a stage. And it crashed this morning, so hopefully it won't do it this time. Hey Alex, how you doing? I'm interested in getting some investment advice in Sydney, buying a new property. Would you be able to help me? Here's the clunky bit.
That's a great question. I'd be happy to help you. What specific information are you looking for regarding investing in a new property in Sydney?
Well, I'm thinking about getting an investment property. I think I want to get it in Parramatta. I'm not sure if I should get 1 or 2 bedrooms. What do you think would be the best for me? You can tell how shocked I am at role-playing this, but you guys would be great. Let's see what she does.
That's a great question. When it comes to investing in Parramatta, the choice between 1 or 2 bedrooms will depend on your target market and your investment goals. Are you looking to attract single professionals or small families?
You know what? I actually don't know. Which do you think would be more profitable in the long term?
That's a great
You've
question.
got to stop doing that, Alex. Okay, do you have an answer for my great question?
In general, properties with 2 bedrooms tend to have a broader appeal and potentially higher rental returns. But market demand and property prices in Parramatta should also be considered.
Okay, so you guys get the rough idea, right? And so the reason I love this is, so this is my workflow. I discovered this technology on Sunday, and I'm like, dude, I've got like 10 speakers in front of me. They're going to come up with cool stuff. I've got to have something original in case they do all this stuff. So I'm like, I'd heard about Hey Jen. I'm like, I'll give it a crack. And I was like, I don't know if this will work. But what I do is I go to ChatGPT and I'm like, hey, ChatGPT, I'm looking at Hey Jen and I need to spool up like an avatar that knows lots about real estate. Could you do the persona for me and actually give it instructions? So I didn't even do the courtesy of writing the knowledge base. I just got ChatGPT to write for me, cut and paste it in. And I've got a really rudimentary, workable property investment advisor spooled up that I can use in demo in the space of like 10 minutes. Yes, I've got a latency problem. In other words, latency is the measure of how long it takes for my voice to get to them and back. It sucks. It's just totally unnatural, I get it. But having said that, this is a really good example of what the future is going to look like, because I promise you, in 6 months, this shit is perfect. Like, it is absolutely perfect. And you are going into a studio, mimicking yourself. You're probably sitting in a nice, Scandi mod office talking and having these conversations with thousands of people. So this is what the future looks like. And I got to say, it is so easy to set up. It's going to get better, don't worry. Okay, let's keep on rocking and rolling. So now, my business gets bought by realestate.com. I'm doing this speech at Ready24. They're like, well, you've got to have some realestate.com stuff in there. I'm like, okay, what can I do? So I want to now show you some examples of some ideas we've got around how you can use things like Ignite, buyer management, prospecting tools for AI. So let's do a bit of a transition to practical tools and some ideas I think could help you. These videos are always a little funny, so let me see how they go. So this is Ignite. Okay, great. Can you see that? Good. Let's give this a crack. Okay. So, before I start, when I used to do this demo, what I would do is I would go into Ignite, I would copy and paste a page. It might be like a summary of a property and the valuation, and then I cut and paste it into ChatGPT just to get the content, and then I'd say, could you please write a market report? Like, that was my presentation. And it didn't present very well, like it wasn't very entertaining. So what I've done here is I got my developers to write a little Chrome extension. So what I'm gonna do in this presentation is I'm gonna show you a page, then I'm gonna show you a prompt, write a market report, for example. And what's gonna happen in the background is it's gonna do the cutting and pasting into ChatGPT for us. So you can do this at home. All you've got to do is cut and paste a page into ChatGPT, but this is going to look a little slicker. But it should give you an idea on some interesting use cases, and then I'm going to tell you a story about what somebody just like you did at one of my presentations, which blew my mind. My ability to control this presentation is not blowing my mind. Play. Okay, so I'm going to go into property here. So this is just like in the prospecting part of Ignite. It tells you about the values and comparable sales. Here's my little Chrome extension, and I'm going to ask it to do a prospecting letter for me. So write an email, doing the summary, and write me a prospecting letter. And literally, ChatGPT goes through and creates the most amazing piece of content instantly. Because it takes all of that beautiful information. I'm going to pause this for a sec. All of the beautiful information that is created that is in Ignite, and then it goes through and writes the email for you. And so it just takes this information. You literally, in our little tool, you can go through it, sends the email, and off you go. You guys can do this instantly today. Any single prospect that you want, you can send them a market update instantly. I'm now going to do, if we've got any property managers here, I'm just switching Ignite now to a property management mode. We're going to do a landlord email. Write an email, assume the recipient is the owner, and convince them to list their property management with me. And almost instantly it goes through and writes out an email that talks about the market, comparables, how much the rent could possibly be, and encourages that owner to come and talk to me about listing their property management with me. Again, it goes through and does the email automatically. So the ability for you to write super high quality content using things like Ignite are here and now. But I'm going to show you one that particularly impresses me. Everything is on Ignite? Yes. I say that somewhat uncertainly because I actually don't know. It's my demo account. I think it's a pro subscription. It's very good. Okay, good. Now I'm going to go through, I'm just now looking at Seaforth. and I'm going to write a market report to all of my vendors, talking about the movement, all of my prospects, I should say, and it will go through and automatically take the content from Ignite and automatically write out a market update, which I think is pretty cool. Okay. Let's keep on hustling. So a couple more. Okay, and then... Okay, this one's slightly different. I like this one. So if you come into here, this will go through and do automatic buyer responses. So we're going to go through, we're going to go now into live listings. So these are all the annoying requests you get from people on the internet. How much is it? Is it still open? Can I get whatever? All the stuff you get from buyers. What you can now do with ChatGPT is come in, find an inquiry. So in this case, Venetia would like to arrange an inspection of the property. And then we're going to run that through ChatGPT. Instantly, it will go through, take the information from the page. It's going to make a 100-page summary, a 100-word summary, and it's going to write the email automatically for the agent. And I challenge all of us just to think about, if we start sending emails to every buyer of this quality, are we going to create a point of difference? And if we're not creating these emails, and your competitors are doing it, is it going to hurt you? Which is sort of always an interesting question. But I want to show you the next thing, because this blew my mind. So I show this technology to Dean O'Brien. I don't know if you guys know Dean O'Brien. He's the CEO of a company called O'Brien's in Victoria. And he sees it at 2 o'clock, and he calls me at 5:30, like completely hyperactive. He's like, Seth, I just used that technology. It's amazing. I said, what'd you do, Dean? He's like, well, I'm sitting on the plane, and I've just got 3 price reductions. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, well, I'm sitting on the Aero Bridge, and I'm on Ignite, and I screenshot it, and then I cut and pasted into ChatGPT and said, write an email to a stubborn vendor and tell them their property's too expensive and they need a cheaper price. And he said, and it did, and I sent 5 of them, and 3 of them already come back, and I got price reductions. And now he's gone through every single Monday, every single vendor who needs a price reduction now gets a ChatGPT-driven price reduction letter. And let me show you how good they are. They're unbelievable. So this is an example. So I'm like, dude, that is gold. Let me show you what it looks like, because I mimicked what he did here. Yeah, this is it. Okay, here it goes. Gonna work? Come on, you silly thing. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure out where my screen is here. Okay, here we go. So again, this is now live listings in Ignite. So we're let's just find one. I told you stuff was going to go wrong in this presentation. Okay, so here's a listing, right? So we are now going to go through. This keeps jumping. This should be the bit that always works. Let's try that one more time. This is the danger of going AI Guy Live. Everything always happens in this stuff. No, I'm going to be stubborn here for 1 second, guys, because this is absolutely worth it. There we go. Let's try this one more time. Okay, good. We are rocking and rolling. Excellent. This is going to be worth it, I promise. Okay, so I go to a property. This is a property I have listed. Hassani Highway in Borkham Hills, right? All of this data, and I need to get a price reduction. Look what this does. So I encourage a price reduction. Write a letter to a stubborn vendor suggesting a price reduction is the appropriate strategy to drive buyer interest in a successful sale. That is all I have done. I click go, and I challenge you to do better than this in any environment. Look what it's doing. It is giving a considered data-driven approach to get a price reduction that no vendor is ever going to say no to. It's unbelievable. All the data, all the reasons we're not getting the inquiry, here's why, this is what we should be doing, and the only way to do it is to get a price reduction. It's real estate gold. Do you know the only problem with it is? So you launch this to a bunch of agents, do you know what they say? They say, I can't send this. I can't send it. I could never write that. They're going to think I'm a fraud because they're going to do it. So do you know what you do? You say, could you please write this as if English is your second language? You rewrite it, you give that now, and everybody's like, dude, that's me. Okay. So let's keep on rocking and rolling. How are we going on time? We're going good on time. It's good. It's good. Okay. Got the grand finale coming up soon, so we got to keep moving. Actually going to skip that one, I reckon. Let's go to another one. Okay, let's look at Saturday afternoon. So I gave you a bit of a sneak peek of what I think Saturday afternoon is going to look like. I said it's going to be quick summary, podcast, video, all this other stuff. Let's look at some other tools that you could use to radically change your engagement with clients. So here we go. I'm going to get rid of this. Let's go this way. Okay, so this is another video, and this is using a product called Numerous. Does anybody use a tool like HomePass or something else, like a digital tool to get buyers? Anybody use something like that? So I'm just pretending, this is like a spreadsheet, right? And I'm just pretending, and it's got like the buyer name, it's got their email address, their mobile. Now, of course, I'm in 2024, so I'm asking what language they want me to speak, because I can speak every language. I've got the property they visited. Do they have a property to sell? It's important to me. And their comments on the property. The first one's love the spacious backyard. The next one's great location, but needs some updates to the kitchen, etc. So I've got that information. Now, what Numerous allows me to do is this. It combines Excel and ChatGPT into one cool tool. So what it's going to do is I'm going to ask it, could you please respond, instead of sending a generic text, could you please respond with a bespoke text? So thank you for attending the open home. It's going to respond to their comments. It's going to write it in every language. So I've got some Greek, I've got some Chinese, and it's going to go through and make sure that if you say you want updates in the kitchen, I'll call you on Monday to further discuss the updates in the kitchen. So every single buyer is getting a bespoke experience, and I am doing virtually no work. But again, it's 2024, right? So what I'm really going to do, I'm going to rock and roll. I'm going to take that content. I'm going to drop it into Hey Jen. I'm going to create a video because I don't want to SMS it. I kind of want to send them a personalized video. And every single vendor is now going to get an experience that looks something kind of like this. Okay. You up there? You good? Numerous.ai. Very welcome. And it's going to look something like this.
Thank you for visiting 456 Elm Avenue today, Olivia. I was thrilled to hear you love the master bedroom. Today. If you have any questions or concerns about the living room, please
That's
don't
Mandarin.
hesitate to That's great.
So now, I've now got AI doing the work of hundreds of people for me, like literally every Saturday afternoon, like I am everywhere. And you can imagine when we start to blend some of the tools I'm showing you is that I send a personalized thank you, and then I have a conversation, or at least my video avatar has a conversation. I'd love seeing you. You spoke about the kitchen. Would you like to have a discussion now about that? Or would you like to talk about the local school area? So that's going to be where we're heading, where you're going to send your avatar out into the world, and it's going to do real work for you. And the technology I've shown you today really is bringing all of that stuff together. Because you could see, instead of sending a pre-recorded video, you send your avatar with a thank you message, and you have a conversation. All of that feedback comes back to you, gets dropped into your database, and you've now got a radically different scale with which you can operate real estate. 2 more things I want to show you. Now we're going to really risque, because this never works. But I'm going to try it anyway. So now what we're going to do. I am going to have a conversation on Monday. So I've shown you what I think a Saturday looks like. Let's see what a Monday looks like. So on Monday, I've met the buyer. I've sent this amazing video. I now need to call them on the Monday. This is how it looks. Please work. Oh, you're not going to work, are you? Oh, that's Mary the debt collector. We don't care about Mary. I got the wrong one. That is good. Something went wrong. I've got a new Mary. Name Mary and debt collecting. We don't want Mary. We want Michael, I think. Let's see how we go. Okay, see what happens. Ooh, I got a phone call. This is good. This is good. Okay, this is hard to set up, so be patient with me. Hello, Seth speaking.
Hello, my name is Michael. I am calling from Campaign Agent. Can I confirm that I'm speaking?
Oh, no. You are Mary. You are not the person. Sorry. I don't want Michael. He's a debt collector. You don't want to ever, Michael, you never want to talk to Michael. Monday follow-up call. That's what I wanted. Told you this is going to go wrong. Okay, let's try again. This will be good. Okay, another phone call. Hello, Seth speaking.
Hello, Seth. This is Michael calling from Barber Real Estate. How are you?
I'm great, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks for asking. I'm just giving you a quick call following your visit to 23 Maple Street this weekend. I wanted to check in and see what your thoughts were on the property.
I really liked it. I thought the kitchen was great. The flow of the property was awesome. We've got kids, so the garden's really important to me, so it was great to see a beautiful big backyard. All in all, it was great, Michael.
That's fantastic to hear, Seth. I'm glad you liked the property, especially the kitchen and the spacious floor. And having a big backyard is definitely a plus, especially with kids. Did you have any questions about the property or the area that I can help clarify for you now?
Yeah, I do actually. I don't know Canterbury that well. What are the schools like in the area?
That's a great question, Seth. Canterbury has a range of great public and private schools in close proximity to the home. Canterbury Girls is an excellent public school, and Camberwell Boys Grammar and Girls Grammar are both top-notch. Carey offers co-ed private education, and MLC, Xavier and Scotch College are all easily accessible. So you have plenty of options when it comes to schools in the area. Is there anything else about the property or the area that I can help clarify?
No, Michael, that's great. Thank you.
You're welcome, Seth. I'm glad I could help. It sounds like Maple Street could be a really good fit for your needs. Have you started considering the next steps? Can I email the contract of sale to you?
You know what? I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Perfect, Seth. I'll email the contract to you right away. Also, we're having quite a bit of interest in this property. If you're considering attending the auction, I'd recommend registering early. It's a no-obligation process, but it ensures you're kept up to date with everything. Would you like me to add you to the registration list?
That'd be great, Michael. Thank you. Okay.
Great, Seth.
You guys get the idea. Now, that technology then will link back into using Zapier or something else. We'll link back into the CRM and to your email client and actually do all of those things as follow-up. It's laggy. That was particularly bad. Actually, some days I get almost perfect responses. That was actually quite slow today. But again, today is about painting the picture of what things are going to look like and the ability for AI voice. Keep in mind that was also coming from New York. If that was coming from Sydney at a data center here, that would have been much better. Unfortunately, that technology isn't available yet in Australia. But very cool, right? Now, before I finish out with my exhortations to greatness for AI, let's do one last thing. So one of the things I often get from agents is, Seth, it's all good, I love your technology, it's really good and I can see it being useful, but ultimately I'm a belly-to-belly salesperson. The chemistry and the connection I have in the living room is really what matters, and they're never going to replace that. And I agree wholeheartedly. Of course that's true. But I also want to emphasize that chemistry, emotional intelligence, and other things that are key to great sales are here now with AI as well. So now, again, I've never demoed this either, and it didn't work this morning, but I think it might work because the Americans are all asleep, is I want to show empathetic emotional intelligence with AI. And what it's going to do is it's going to attempt to read my emotional state, and it's going to try and keep the conversation centered. So it's going to do what it can, or what it's programmed to do, is to try and keep me balanced. So I'm going to be overly emotional, which I do well, and then we're going to see how it goes. Oh, shit. I knew that was going to happen. Oh, that sucks. This is a really good demo. Come on, please. Maybe it work. Hey, Hume, how you doing? I'm feeling really excited.
There.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I am doing well.
Okay.
Hey there! I can hear you loud and clear.
Great. I'm feeling
If you have
very
any
agitated.
questions or
Could
need
you-
help, feel free to ask.
Oh boy, do
Got
I
it.
need help. Could you stop talking, please, and tell me what you're thinking? Because you keep interrupting me, and it's really sending me crazy. In fact, I'm feeling a little bit unsettled by the way you're talking to me.
I am here to help. What's on your mind?
Okay, so notice what it just did. Well, I'm actually feeling a little bit exhausted today, and I got up and I just can't seem to find the motivation to do what I really need to do. Do you have any advice?
I'm sorry to hear that.
Okay. Not doing a great job. I told you guys are on the cutting edge. So maybe that one doesn't work very well in the diaphragm. But what it does do is did you notice what it was? It was mapping both of our responses. It's kind of hard to see on the screen. I need to zoom in next time I do this. But it's mapping out my emotional state. And then did you notice when I came at it with energy and anxiety, it came with calmness. And when I tried to bring it down, it recognized it and then started to be positive and assertive. So this is super early stage, right? Hume came out 2 weeks ago. But what they're now working on is Michael, the person who called me, he's following a script, right? He's doing scripts and dialogues. What Hume is trying to do is then to say, well, let's actually take scripts and dialogues, but let's put EQ overlay on them and actually start to think about how we can get to the best outcome. So if I've got a recipient of a call or a video conference, and what you're going to see is Hume is not going to be a standalone technology. You won't go to Hume. What you'll find, though, is the video program or the avatar or the phone call will buy Hume's technology, and they'll introduce AI EQ so that when you're using the video program, it's going to get real smart. So when you send out your video avatar on a Saturday to talk to a buyer, and the buyer's excited, not excited, it's going to give you an emotional score as well as a content score. So you won't just be reading text, you'll be getting an emotional report. There's a product called Humantic out there right now. So you can install it and you can go onto LinkedIn and it'll give you disc profiles on every single customer you're looking at automatically using their social media graph. So there's all these kind of tools as salespeople where if we use them, we're going to become very effective. If we don't, well, we're going to have a few problems. So I've got 3 minutes. I'm going to finish out just with a few thoughts. Showed you Hume, AI. I recommend ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot. I think they're really good starting places. Everything I have done is foundationally built on ChatGPT. I personally use ChatGPT all the time, but Copilot's good too. I'm going to leave you with this thought, actually. So Sam Altman, the guy who founds OpenAI, the guy, by the way, who said ChatGPT sucks 3 weeks ago, he says, it's not that good. I've seen what ChatGPT 5 is like, and ChatGPT 4 is kind of rubbish, which is slightly terrifying if you've seen how good it is. But he makes the statement that a one-person, $1 billion company is now going to happen. Some man or woman sitting in a garage is going to use all of these tools, and they're going to do something cool. And they make $1 billion. Now, this is deeply uninteresting to me. Like, I really couldn't care less, because I'm a real estate guy, right? And what matters to me is I reckon somebody today somewhere has decided to write $20 million worth of GCI. And they have decided that, great, I am going to radically redefine what real estate means. This whole concept of 1,500 home farm areas is rubbish. I'm going to have 1 million homes in my farm area, and I'm going to talk to them every single month, and I'm going to do that at scale. And they're going to rethink what it means to do real estate. And I think these types of technologies, whether that happens in 25 or 26, I don't know, but it's not going to be 2030. It's going to be sooner than that. But somebody's going to sit down and figure out how to do this, and they're going to think about the whole journey of real estate, especially on prospecting and buyer management, radically differently. And they're going to use these technologies to do some pretty cool stuff. So I'm going to leave you, hopefully, with a positive note. This stuff is not going to destroy your business. In fact, some of you are going to become fabulously wealthy because of it. What is going to happen, though, is competitors using it is what's going to kill you if you're not. So these tools are here and now. The one thing I would encourage you, right, is that people like me, computer nerds who have been programming, we have had a competitive advantage against the rest of the world for 25 years because we can understand bits and bytes and write code. And we've made trillions of dollars for the tech community, right? ChatGPT is different. ChatGPT rewards people who are good communicators, people who are good at convincing people to do things, because if you can convince AI to do it, and it's for people who are really great communicators. And guess what everybody in this room is good at? And I'm going to make an argument. If you're scared of technology or you haven't used technology effectively, this is your time in the sun, because it's almost like ChatGPT was made for us as salespeople. It's almost like all of the skills that we bring to the table. Great communicators, extremely good negotiators, wonderful at convincing people of our point of view. That's what you need to do this technology well. And I would encourage all of you to walk out of here and not talk about it, but actually play with this technology, because it's remarkably easy to use, and it's a lot of fun. And have a battle of the bands tonight with your kids. And with that, I thank you for your time.
Please. Thank you, Seth Watts. Brilliant. Always awesome to understand that AI won't kill us, but our competitors will
Yes.
using that AI.
It is. It is.
Does anyone have any questions for Seth? I know we're late. Oh, we do. We got hands. I know we're late, but we've got time, don't we, Seth? Running anywhere? What's your question?
Just when you're changing something into a different language and when it's like you make it culturally correct or funny or whatever, is there a way of checking what it's saying to make sure that it's not inappropriate?
Yeah. Well, you may not know what's culturally appropriate in Chinese or China, for example. So the way we do it is we will translate in ChatGPT. We'll drop it into another program called Claude, which is a big competitor for ChatGPT, and we'll get Claude to say, could you translate this back and tell us whether it's appropriate? So we sort of get the AI to check the AI, and it's a really cheap way to do it. That's how we do it. Because I'm terrified that I'm sending something, because I'm regulated, so we've got to be really careful legally.
Felicity, you need a microphone permanently.
I mean, my great questions when I remember them. But I just had a question about when sending like a video via text, if
Yes.
you do it from an Apple to an Android, it kind of doesn't work.
Yeah, this is almost always done via links rather than MMSs. The MMSs are also problematic because they're super expensive.
Yes. The issue with links also, though, is a lot of people don't tend to click on it because they're worried that it might be some sort of a scammy thing. Is there a way around?
And I don't have huge, great solutions for that stuff, I'm sorry.
I do.
Those are deeply infrastructure.
I do. Bomb. Really good video tech out of the US. It plays on everything.
This is just a really general question. Why do we keep talking about ChatGPT and ChatGPT-4? What about Gemini?
I hate Gemini.
I just toured Google in Austin, Texas. I
Yeah.
love everything Google at the moment.
Yeah, no, I'm not a huge fan of Gemini at all. There are people who love it, particularly programmers and people doing data. The reason I don't talk about Gemini is I don't like it. I do like Claude, and I use Claude a lot. I think there are people who love Google. The main advantage to it is context window. It can literally, you can put a 1,000-page book in there. I never put 1,000-page books into anything.
Right.
I think it's a weak model. Google would disagree with me. I'm happy to take that one offline, why I feel about that.
Yeah, I've got a question down here first. Just wait. There's a queue.
Yeah, I know, it's new. I just don't, and there are people who love it. So it's a very personal opinion. And do you know what? Just like there are people who really like BMWs versus Mercedes versus Audis in this room, you're going to find that people get, or Android and Apple's maybe a better example, people are going to really like their version of whatever it is. I'm kind of a Claude guy and ChatGPT, but I don't like Gemini. But we can debate it afterwards.
Oh. So just a quick one. With the videos, once they're translated, and it looked like you spoke, beautiful Mandarin and everything, is there a little tag on it to say this has been translated from English? Because otherwise you meet someone, they go, oh, summer, and start waffling on a language I've got no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a whole bunch of protocols that develop. So, for example, Michael, when he called me on the phone, didn't tell me he was AI. All of the testing and research we've done suggested that completely freaks people out. We're actually testing some property coaches at realestate.com right now, and the first minute of the call is explaining that I am AI, and that if you are uncomfortable at any point, you can connect to a human. And what we're finding is that that step is super important because it creates trust and authenticity. People are happy to speak to AI, but they have to know it's AI. If you try to trick them, they will freak out. I think those protocols are going to develop. I don't do all that stuff in this presentation just because, I'm trying to do a bit of a carnival here. But in real life, we would be very specific about disclaimers.
Seth, you jumped over it. How are you using Copilot then?
Copilot, Microsoft Copilot? I'm not, is the honest answer. I think Copilot's great as an entry level for the product. I think that Microsoft has done a brilliant job of integrating it into Word and Excel and PowerPoint. I also think they're a global corporation that's got a lot of government clients, and they're very sensitive to being politically correct. And I think it's dumbed down. So I find that ChatGPT is much more powerful. But I'm also a super big nerd, and if I wasn't a super big nerd, I would start with Copilot because I think it's much easier. Because you can just, who doesn't know what I'm talking about, but Copilot, you pay $50 a month, and all of a sudden there's a magic button that appears in Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. You can click on it, and it will go through and do stuff. So instead of having to muck around on what I just did, cutting and pasting, you just click go and it'll write your email. It's very cool. So I like it, but it's just not quite as powerful.
We have run out of time this afternoon. Thank you so much to Seth Watts again. Give him a big round of applause.